Fees, delays, permissions. Power rarely announces itself as force. It presents itself as process. Friction is the most effective form of control ever invented because it doesn't feel like oppression. It feels reasonable. It feels administrative. It feels necessary. A small delay, a modest fee, one more form, one more approval. Individually, none of these feel threatening. Together, they define the boundary between freedom and dependence. Friction is resistance introduced into flow. In physics, friction converts movement into heat, energy lost to the system. In financial systems, friction converts movement into revenue and authority. Every time value changes hands and something skims the surface, friction is at work. Transaction fees, processing delays, minimum balances, withdrawal limits, approval requirements, settlement windows. These are not accidents. They are design choices. Friction slows movement just enough to be monitored, measured, and monetized. Force creates resistance. Friction creates compliance. When people are blocked outright, they push back. When they are slowed slightly, they adapt. They internalize the rules. They plan around the delays. They stop questioning the cost. Over time, friction becomes invisible. A system that openly restricts movement must constantly justify itself. A system that merely inconveniences movement trains people to self-regulate. That is far more efficient. Permission is friction disguised as protection, approved, pending, under review. These words sound neutral, even reassuring. But permission is simply delayed access granted at someone else's discretion. The longer permission takes, the more power the gatekeeper holds. When permission becomes normal, ownership becomes symbolic. You may own value, but only within boundaries defined for you. Time is the most underestimated cost. A delay is not just waiting, it is lost optionality. While value is frozen, opportunities pass. Needs change. Risk accumulates. Those who control settlement time control exposure, and delays are rarely symmetrical. Large players move quickly. Smaller participants wait. Speed becomes privilege. Fees are often justified as maintenance, as security, as oversight. Sometimes that's true, but fees also shape behavior. High fees discourage movement. Layered fees discourage experimentation. Unclear fees discourage transparency. Over time, people stop asking why the cost exists and focus only on whether they can afford it. When cost replaces understanding, control is complete. Most systems claim to offer choice. You can move your money within limits. You can access your value during approved hours. You can exit in after penalties. This is not freedom. It is managed movement. When every option carries cost, delay, or permission, people choose the path of least resistance. That isn't laziness. It's rational adaptation to constraint. Technology should reduce friction. And yet, in many systems, friction increases as tools improve. Because friction is no longer a limitation. It is a business model. When systems profit from resistance, efficiency becomes a threat. Speed undermines control. Transparency undermines leverage. Direct access undermines intermediaries. So friction is preserved and rebranded as safety. The shift happens when you ask one question: who benefits from this delay, this fee, this permission? If the answer is never you, then friction is not serving you. It is shaping you. Friction trains obedience without commands. It enforces hierarchy without force. It extracts value without confrontation. Flow threatens friction. When value moves directly, there is no surface to skim, no delay to monetize, no permission to withhold. This is why systems built on friction resist change so aggressively. It isn't ideology, it's survival. You do not need to eliminate friction entirely. Even water needs banks to form a river. But when friction exists primarily to extract rather than protect, it becomes control. Understanding this doesn't require rebellion. It requires awareness. Once you recognize friction for what it is, you can decide when it's worth paying and when it's simply another dam pretending to be a bridge. And water, given the chance, always finds another route.